All right, hello everyone. I just wanted to hop on here really quickly and do like a very general and quick analysis of the transit chart of Miss Hayden Panettiere, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 36. For us 90s kids who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, we all remember seeing Hayden in so many TV shows and so many movies. I mean, she was a huge star. I mean, still to this day, and it's just really sad and shocking news to see that she had passed away. So I just wanted to hop on here and possibly kind of maybe see what was going on in her natal chart, you know, in conjunction with the transit chart. So let's see here. So I do have her um, birthday here. She was born in August 21st of 1989. And we also have the transit chart, which is the inner ring, where she was, you know, found, passed away in Greenville, South Carolina. So let's get into it. So in the first house here, let's start there. We can see that she's a Libra rising, and Libra is ruled by Venus. So her chart ruler would be Venus. And as you can see here, I mean, Venus is literally conjunct her ascendant. So she's extremely magnetic, extremely charismatic, very attractive, very beautiful, and there's no denying that. I mean, you could just see she was just such a beautiful person. So I do think it's interesting that there was so many kind of like returns in her chart, or like returns that had just happened or returns that were coming up. So while we're here in the first house, you can see the transiting Venus had just passed over her natal Venus as well as her ascendant, and had traveled a few more degrees down. But I think that's interesting to note. Another return that was coming up for her was literally her birthday. I mean, she literally in a few days she was going to turn 37. So you can see the sun here transiting. It's almost returned back to where it was when she was born at 28 degrees in Leo. So that's also very interesting. And then more note on that, her being a late degree Leo, I mean, her energy, her presence, I mean, was undeniable. And then the fact that it was conjunct with the South Node means that even in her past life, like that's something that she brought with her into this life, was that huge presence of like, I guess what we would call now, like, or a more popular term that's been popularized lately is aura. That's giving like major aura right there. And then on top of her being in, the first house kind of represents like your physical manifestation in this world. So being very beautiful, I mean, Venus is there, very magnetic, very attractive. On top of having a very strong, powerful aura, I mean, wow. Like it's kind of undeniable, her presence. And then what's another interesting thing is her nodal axis was coming into return as well. I mean, look at this. Like literally in a few days, I want to say tomorrow, maybe even tomorrow or Tuesday, the nodes are going to shift back into Leo, and the north node was going to go back into Aquarius, which is her nodal axis. So, I mean, there's a lot of energy that was going on around her sun, and as we know, the sun kind of represents your soul, and when there's a lot of implications around it, a lot of energy around it, it could be very good or very not good. So I don't 100% know, what, obviously I don't know exactly what was going on in her life, but it looks like there was, I mean, when I see the South Node this close with the sun and a lot, I mean, there's also in Leo, there's Jupiter, there's Mercury. It's giving me like, I mean, it's giving like there was just some type of karmic situation that she almost couldn't get out of, or that she was kind of thinking about, and that was keep getting blown out of proportion with this Jupiter here. I mean, there was a ton of energy going around her sun, so that's very interesting to note. Another thing that I thought was interesting is that Mars, the transiting Mars, is directly squaring her natal Venus and ascendant. So it's kind of giving me, and then Mars in Cancer is, to me, that reads as a very like undercover Mars in Cancer, because Mars is very like out there, very energetic, very very in your face, and then Cancer is very like private in the home, you know. So to me, it's kind of giving like there was like some underlying tensions or some underlying aggressions, maybe even some hidden, possibly even hidden enemies or adversaries squaring off directly with her natal Venus and ascendant. So almost maybe even like jealousy or envy or something like that. And then the fact that Mars was conjunct her natal Jupiter, which her Jupiter is like literally conjunct her MC in the 10th house. So, I mean, that's even more of, you know, that larger than life persona. I mean, literally, we see her on the screen, on TV and movies. So she was literally destined for fame. I mean, it's like written right here in her chart. So it's just interesting that like this Mars here is very, very interesting to me. Which is also interesting too because Mars is the ruler of Aries, which is her descendant. So that means her being a Libra rising, she kind of magnetizes, if you will, this Aries Mars energy. So you can see her descendant is here. So that means she's kind of like the peacemaker and the one who wants to maintain balance. And unfortunately, a lot of times when you're the one who maintains balance, you're the one who's kind of, you know, demure, if you will. You kind of attract those kind of like aggressive, powerful, or overpowering individuals or energies. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. And but it's interesting, she has her moon there in Aries in the 7th house. So I mean, the fact that her moon is directly trining her sun in Leo, I mean, the energy is just undeniable with her. Like, she is totally like a fiery person. Like, this is like one of the most fiery charts I think I've seen. I mean, it's pretty wild. She's very fiery. Like that, her aura, her presence, her energy is just undeniably powerful. And another interesting thing too is the transiting moon was almost directly opposite her natal moon. So, I mean, there was just a lot of energies going on here. And I actually did pull a tarot card right before, just to kind of see if I could get more insight. And the tarot card that I pulled was the Two of Pentacles. And if you're not familiar with tarot, it just kind of gives you some kind of like esoteric symbols and signs and symbols. And this card depicts a man juggling two pentacles. And the pentacles cards are all about earthly bound things. So to me, there's something physical that was going on with her, specifically something physical that she was juggling with. And in the depiction, it just shows a man, but it doesn't have to be a man. It just could represent anyone, but it shows someone juggling two pentacles, and those two pentacles, like I said, could represent anything that's earthly bound or anything physical or tangible. So I know in the past she spoke about her postpartum depression and her alcoholism, and, you know, I don't know if she ever got into like drug use, if she ever talked about drug use, but to me, when I'm looking at this card, it's giving me like something was out of balance. And interestingly enough, like we said, her first house here, ruled by Venus, is Libra, and Libra is the sign of balance. And I'm looking at this card and I'm just like, he's holding one pentacle lower than the other, another one higher than the other. So it's giving me like something was out of balance. Obviously, we may or may not ever know what it was, but I think TMZ released a phone call, like the 911 call, and I think at the very end of the call, I heard something that said like overdose, possibly. You know, so I don't know if she was juggling like back and forth. It's giving me like long periods of sobriety and then relapse, or like, you know, going between alcoholism and then going to pills or whatever, or, you know, something like that. So there was like some type of something she was struggling with that was way out of balance, or even it could even be emotions, because in the background of this card you could see the ocean's kind of like wavy and looks kind of crazy. So it could be just dealing with like the emotional turmoils. You know, it's like, you know, of course it's her private life, so we'll never fully know. But and then another thing that I found interesting was her Neptune is directly on her descendant. And as we know, Neptune can deal with kind of visions and dreams and fantasies and illusions and even delusions. So, and unfortunately, kind of overdoses can be noted with this. And I think it's very interesting that this Neptune is squaring off with this Mars here, conjunct with her natal, Jupiter, also squaring with her natal Venus. There's like a lot of energy going on here, and it's giving me, I would not be surprised if it was drug and alcohol related, but someone bringing her those drugs and alcohol, or someone triggering her like emotions, or something emotional is triggering her use of those drugs and alcohol, that unfortunately led to, her unfortunately untimely passing. So I would not be surprised to hear something like that coming out. Obviously, we don't know, and I don't want to speculate too much, but that would be kind of indicated here by this chart. Neptune directly opposite your ascendant is very, it's almost like she couldn't see people, because Neptune deals with, like I said, illusions, and the planet of illusions is directly on her descendant, and the descendant representing people that you interact with, other people, whether romantic, platonic, business, whatever. There was just something blocking her clear vision of who and what those people were and what they represented. And maybe she trusted the wrong people, or just people were deceiving her even. It was just, and then, like I said, Neptune does represent drugs and alcohol, so I would not be surprised to hear if it had something to do with that. Very sad news though, regardless. It's just very tough to, hear this situation happening. But yeah, there's so much in this chart, but I think those are kind of like my main analyses. So yeah, like I said, I think there could potentially be some type of male involved, because this Mars here squaring off with her ascendant and descendant, and the fact that there's like this Venus Neptune opposition going on with her descendant in Aries. Her birthday was literally very soon. The South Node complex here with her sun, it's giving very karmic, almost like past life. I'm getting like past life, like energetic ties with someone who may have had hidden jealousy or envy, or just didn't have the best wishes. It also could have just been very much an accident, but I don't know, it's giving very, very intense energies. And, the whole world as a whole, we're entering into this new nodal axis flip where, the South Node is finally leaving Virgo and it's going into Leo. And, the South Node does represent things that are kind of meant to be let go of. And, with the South Node going into Leo being the sign of like the self, the self-image, the larger than life energy, just like I said, the larger than life energy, almost like that superstardom and fame and glamour and glitz and glamour. And so the South Node going into Leo literally this week, it's kind of giving me the energy of like, all that glitter just ain't gold, it just really isn't. And so I would not be surprised to see kind of more of this. Hopefully no more tragedies like this, but I also would not be surprised to see kind of like big celebrities or big names kind of getting knocked down a few pegs, if you will. Obviously in her situation, this is just very sad just in general, but I'm just saying like the general, like the general just energy of the world right now. There's going to be some, we're going to see some very interesting changes on the world stage with the South Node coming into Leo, and it hasn't even fully come in yet. And this is already something that we're seeing, unfortunately, with the untimely passing of Miss Hayden. So that has been this video for today. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it here, and yeah, everyone, I hope you all stay blessed, and rest in peace to Miss Hayden.